6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock now. 6 o'clock, we're going to call the meeting to order. Let's stand, and we do have a quorum. We're missing 2 people, but we have a quorum. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I prepared a prayer for this meeting, and it's on my desk in the house. So I'm just going to invoke the Lord to help us act ethically and remember that we're representing the citizens of this great city, and ask for your guidance and prayers. Amen. Okay. No citizen comments, I understand, so we're going to move right on to the standard monthly reports. Will, your takeoff for the city manager?
Do you want to do the dog park first?
Oh, yeah, I guess we do the dog park first. Go ahead, Mr. Wright. Would you introduce yourself and tell us why you're here?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much for having me today. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. Some 50 years ago, I was a deputy HR director for the city of Austin, and I have appeared before many council meetings like this one.
Good.
A great deal of compassion for what you have to endure sometimes, I understand. I am here today. Let me introduce myself, Lodier Wright. You might know me as LD. Some people call me LD. I live here on Firestone Place, near just across the main road here, a block away, with my wife Jody and my dog Duke. And I am here today to represent the interests of my dog Duke. Duke is a golden retriever that everybody in the neighborhood loves. He loves to talk to and pet as we walk through. As you know, before your time, the city was built without sidewalks. People do not particularly like my dog walking in their yards either, so we are forced to walk in the streets. And that's okay, except that in our particular neighborhood, I have to go up the main exit road to get back to any streets that might have any hope of no car traffic. And we dodge quite a few cars every morning that we go for a walk. Duke is one of those dogs that does not just go out into his backyard and do his business. He needs to walk. He needs to exercise. And that's well and good. I have no problem with doing that as long as we don't get run over. But I have arthritis, and it's sometimes difficult to take him for long enough walks to really do much good, to get him much exercise. Duke needs to run. He likes to run, and he needs to run. He's part golden retriever, and they are prone to need that kind of exercise. So one morning, I was allowing Duke to run in a part of the city that he was really not allowed to be off the leash. And I spoke to your animal control officer, and he was very nice. He's very good man, in my opinion, and doing a good job. But he understood my problem, and he suggested that perhaps there was a way to make a space for Duke to run in the city limits. There being a park, I believe it's near Mahan Street, or not that?
Yeah, Mahan.
And I looked at it. It's a nice, long, vacant park for the most part. It has a few swing sets and things for children to play on. And the times that I've been by there, I haven't noticed it being particularly busy. And it seemed like a space that could be used for a dog park of some kind. Perhaps not all of it. Perhaps it could be sectioned off for a run for the dogs. They need some space to run. Now I know there is a dog park in Marble Falls, but you have to get in your car, go out of the city, go through the traffic, go through some detours right now because of the bridge building, and you finally get back there, and when you do, it's not a very big park.
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's, it really doesn't fit my needs. And so, if there is a way that that space could be used for dogs and perhaps other animals, I'm not sure. I don't think it would require a lot of modification, maybe the fence, and frankly, I think I could find enough people with dogs in the neighborhood to take up a collection if we had to build a fence around it. I know that there are a lot of people who agree with me, the dog owners in the city, and would be delighted, I think, to have something like that. And I think that the people who don't have dogs and don't want the dogs in their yards would be happy about it too. I think it's a win-win situation, and I just think it would be good for the city and good for the people, and certainly good for the dogs. So
Yeah, that'd be good.
if anyone wanted to ask me to, I don't know, to canvass the neighborhood or do some petitions or whatever it
Yeah.
might require, I'd be happy to work on that with you, sir. Emil.
Okay. Let me make one comment on this. I like the idea, first of all.
Okay.
The parks in the Meadow Lakes are owned by the POA, not by the city.
Yes, sir. I did learn that from the animal
Okay.
control officer
Yeah.
after I had already made plans to speak today.
Yes, Steve, well, they actually spoke last week at the POA meeting about the dog park, and the POA group, Mike was chairing the meeting, we discussed it
Mhm.
quite a bit, and so they're aware of it, and I think a lot of them thought it was a very good idea. Just, are they going to do getting a group together, you can do an investigation of what's, a study, something or other.
Yeah, that would probably be the best route to go.
Mike, put on your.
Yeah, there I am. Okay, so yes, that would probably be the best route to go. Get a group together, and it could be, it doesn't have to be POA individuals, it could just be, I'd prefer it to be just citizens, such as yourself. Gary Mason, who happens to be my neighbor, and I've talked about it in the past. I think we're dog owners as well, but I would like to get an idea, as not being on the council now, but speaking for the POA, and because I am director of the parks for the POA, get an idea of how many people would be on board with this idea. And then we can move along from there. The question, it is a very unused piece of property in our community. And there's been several, I've had several ideas of what to do with it. Unfortunately, I think you may get some pushback from people that live around the park.
Okay.
As I have, when I happened to talk to some of them when I was at the park. So, but I think it would be a worthwhile endeavor for us to put a committee together, and then let's see where we can go with that.
Yes, sir, appreciate that. I do think that certainly there need to be some rules if we do it. I wouldn't think we would ever condone someone leaving their dogs unattended, for example, or that sort of thing. And if any were making unusual noise that was a nuisance to the neighbors, I certainly think that someone should be able to say, you're not allowed to be here
Yeah.
under those conditions.
And I think you'll find that sometimes smaller dogs don't get along well with larger dogs, and vice versa, and some dogs don't get along with anybody. But anyway, and then there's some that'll lick you to death. But what was your name again, sir?
Ladair Wright, L-A-D-A-I-R. You can call me LD if you like.
And if I could get some contact information
Okay.
from you, I'll be glad to chat about this.
And, but,
He's got his, in the back of your packet, he's got his, at least his address.
Yes.
Now, I assume your phone number's in the
Well-
directory too. Back,
Yeah.
the very back page, Mike. There it is. That's his name and address.
Okay, well, a phone number or email address would be helpful.
Yes, sir. Okay, did I not put it? Okay, I'll be
Okay.
second.
Very- That's right.
Mike, the only other thing we need to take in consideration is parking, which has
Well, I was
always
gonna-
been the issue for that location anyway,
I was gonna
is
mention
how we would
that.
handle parking.
Yeah, a lot of residents, like Mr. Ladere, get exercise when they walk their dogs, exercise their dogs. But there'll be some that will drive up there. And there has been discussions in the POA meetings about adding parking to
Right, yeah.
Dollar Park.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it may not be, it may be 6 or 8 spaces, maybe up to 10, we could handle maybe 10. But we've already discussed that, so it's in the works. We've also discussed putting up some type of restroom facilities there as well. So there's been a lot of things discussed on with
Yeah.
that park.
Yeah.
But Mr. Ladere, if you could please, like, not right now, but here, it's super secret, just write it down up here on,
Happy to, thank you.
and give it
And
back to
I
me.
might mention that the times that I have been to the dog park in Marble Falls, which has a lot more people, of course,
Yeah.
I have never been there when there were more than 3 cars at the most at the dog park. There are people there for other purposes, but in a different.
And we have to take that into consideration when we have to take that into consideration
Yes, sir.
when we plan the parking spaces.
Yes, sir.
Our streets are too narrow and we can't, it makes it difficult when you get multiple cars parking along the curb, so.
I understand. Thank you very much for considering this.
Well, thank you, Mr.
Thank
Wright. I
you.
appreciate you coming by and letting us know you're concerned. Okay,
Thank
now
you.
we'll move on to monthly standard live reports. I think what we suggested here is we need to work this through the POA.
Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
All right, first, I'll discuss in my city manager's report some of the upcoming agenda items. Quick update before we get into them. Codification project, if the city council has found any typos, which we paid them to look for those, so there shouldn't be any. We have till the 20th of this month, so 3 days from now to let them know. And then we'll move on to the next step in our ordinances will be online and update to everything we passed. And we can get some training on how to use it as well. Warning sirens, that'll be 6C a discussion. We did have a meeting today about those, and it appears that on March 3rd, they're gonna have flood maps finished, and it'll show us whether or not we're in the area that will definitely get funding. And then moving on from that, we'll be able to figure out how much we can get, and if we're not in those maps, it's not an appeal, they said, but a process of communication so we can make our case for why we do actually need them. Yes, Johnny?
Just to mention that the placement of the sirens, the state will determine that. And then they present that map to the county, but it's not the county actually establishes the location of the sirens. So,
John, you need a.
Well, grab one of Bruce's or Garrett's.
Yeah.
And just use it, keep it there at your desk.
sorry, my voice is fading too.
Yeah.
But basically, the county has correct me, Will, but the county has the authority to place the sirens. The indication I've got is that we're probably not gonna be in that loop, unless we're probably not gonna be in that loop of getting funding. I'm guessing, if we play enough politics, we might be able to.
No, it's,
We have, Garrett, while they're talking about, just kind of give you an update on the status. They're holding the pricing the same as they have since earlier. they did a propagation map, moving the siren from number 6 over to the garden park and raising the height of it because we didn't want it blasting in someone's houses. So we did that. And then I'm kind of jumping the gun on wheel a little bit. We did have some in the agenda item, but did have conversations with several of the cities, Cottonwood, Highland Haven, and they're all are looking at the same thing. So we're going to try to have a meeting sometime next week or following week to meet with all of those folks, and hopefully we can get, maybe better pricing and everything be, but countywide, I guess, did y'all get that, Mark and Garrett? That countywide is probably not going to happen. A
Well,
countywide
they're
alert.
spending $150,000 for a study, so I assume something's gonna benefit us, but, that wasn't promised.
Yeah, so but apparently they didn't want to have everyone keyed off the sirens. And I can understand some of that, but I mean, the one we have is, we can turn on siren 1 or siren 2. You can broadcast to whichever one without broadcasting both of them, so I'm sorry I jumped the gun on you.
No, thank you,
That's
Johnny.
okay.
So is this flood map gonna be done in conjunction with FEMA?
It's Tatum.
Don't think so.
I don't think it
No.
is.
Tatum's doing it.
It's simply for the Region 10 flood management plan, which really doesn't have anything about sirens right now. They're gonna update that plan. But the purpose of the topographical map is to show where the low points are and where you could run into problems in a big rain.
The actual map is being generated by the Texas Water Development Board. That's where the funding to the county came from.
The reason why I'm asking is because there are some areas that FEMA designates in our community as flood zones. And if that map contradicts or doesn't take into effect those areas, then, I don't know.
Yeah, we had because of the flood mitigation and the floodplain maps, the flood mitigation we had to do, which with all the cities except Marble Falls, we did not have sirens as a mitigating item, but it was added, supposedly added first of the year when we first started talking about this. So that was a discussion at the meeting today, is most people didn't put warning sirens in and their hazard mitigation, so they're having to go back and add those, which is, I think, fairly easy to do. The mayor signs off and says, yeah, we want to add this to the mitigation plan, and it gets stuck in there. But it has to be in there before funding can be provided. Is that kind of what y'all got?
That's right, that's
Yeah.
right. So the way we work our emergency management is the county does one, and we piggyback off that one. So that our funding, not our funding, but our plan mirrors the county's, with the exception of it's localized for our purposes. That it? So we'll keep going.
All right, tennis facility lease, which is 6D. Barbara asked for some numbers for the last couple of years, so I went ahead and got those. October 2022 to September 23, which was the first year of the agreement, we netted $900. Fiscal year 23-24, it was $1,993 because there was profit, and we captured some of that profit. 24 to 25, it was just what's in the contract at $1,200 because no profit was claimed. And then through the first quarter of this year, we've gotten $300, again with no profit being shared.
When do you want to talk about that?
Well, I'm just gonna say, instead of going through your report, if it mimics the agenda,
Yeah, let's just go through the agenda.
let's just go through the agenda.
Yeah. You bring
So we
this up
need to-
as we get to the agenda, but particularly if these are agenda items, I think it'd
All
be
of
best
these,
service.
yeah.
Rather than review it now and then review it again when we have the,
Yes.
May I say something? I
Have
thought
at it,
his
Barbara.
report was wonderful.
Thank you.
Reading that really helped
Oh, no,
to
it is,
understand.
but
No,
I'm
I know what
just-
you're
yeah,
saying, I
yeah.
just wanted to give.
We don't need to go
Will
through
some
everything twice.
credit
Yeah.
there for doing that report, because it was a good one.
yeah, and it's brief.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can skip over that. Broadmoor pump station status, that's, fix is underway. Johnny, we're getting a new pump for that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cart Barn, will cover that in the community facility and Cart Barn update. But that's, if you haven't seen it, take a swing through there tomorrow when it's nice and light out. It's really coming along. And with that, we can move on to our current utility operations. Johnny, is your voice holding up, or do you want me to do this for you?
I'll try.
Okay.
It may fade out before it's over with. Yeah. The utility crew was busy in January trying to finish up the pro shop. That's where most of the time was devoted. And we were actually able to move in before the end of the fiscal year, before January, the end of January. So we still got some work to do. The county currently, just kind of give you an update, the county moved in today. He's thinking he's gonna pave by Friday, but I don't know if he'll make that. Hopefully he will. All the paving in front. And then once that is done, all we got left is cleanup, which would, next, maybe it's this Friday. We have a bunch of high school kids from the Rick Edwards Day of Giving that volunteer. So we'll have a bunch of kids that we can start loading some junk in dumpsters and start trying to clean it up, because we really need to get the sides on it before they can get those carts clean. So anyway, that's kind of where everything is. And I guess everyone's been, I don't know if you've been by the pro shop, but the bar is in the pro shop. And where the bar is eventually is where the retail, when she moves out, that's where David and all them will move to. That will be the retail spot.
Johnny,
Yes, ma'am.
the current work on the asphalt, is it just gonna be in front of the pro shop?
No, that area to the right, where we put the
Right,
retaining wall.
yeah, the area to the right,
That's
right.
golf cart return area.
Right.
And then there'll be paving all the way over to where that sidewalk comes in at an angle. I forgot, I was gonna have a map or
Right.
drawing and I forgot, but that'll be taken out, so they'll go there, and that'll all be asphalt. And then there'll be some green area between that and the new building, so there'll be
But
about 20, 30
my point was,
foot
the
between.
asphalt will only be in the vicinity of
Right,
the temporary
and they're
pro shop.
redoing the cart paths.
They will be doing the car
Yeah, they're
paths?
tearing them out. They're tearing out the existing concrete, because we've got an issue with some drainage, and we had to move that water, because right now it comes right straight towards the building, more or less. So we're taking the cart paths out, moving them around, making them a little bit wider, and we were gonna try to make them 3 lanes wide, but we ended up putting 2. Where there's a cart return, we'll put arrow cart return, where they're not parking everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully they'll get through. They shouldn't have any problems getting, at least half the carts parked outside if they need to, and they can pull the others as needed.
So Johnny, that diagonal cart path you're talking about, or sidewalk, is that right there at the southwest corner of the tennis courts?
Yeah, it goes to nowhere. It just,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
goes up there and stops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So that will be taken. That's about where we're gonna stop the asphalt.
Okay.
I didn't want to asphalt everything, just because of the heat. And
Yeah.
we are gonna put a couple of flower beds in or something, to try to break up the black asphalt sticking up.
Johnny, we're gonna come back to that because we have an agenda item on the the
Yes.
golf projects. So let's
Okay.
hold off on that.
Okay.
But are you gonna give the utility report? Or
Yes,
is it
sir.
Will?
I'll keep trying to,
Utility
my voice
operation, well-
hangs out. The water consumption, January brought warmer and drier weather, which contributed to a sharp increase in water usage. The average water customer consumption rose 51% from December, which is about 47% higher than for January of last year. So, the water is already, the trees are already blooming. So, so I guess spring is here and water consumption is up.
I don't think the mesquites have started to bloom yet.
No, sir.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the guy that pruned our oak trees and everything around the building up there, he was saying, there's gonna be another freeze.
Yeah.
He said, because there's too many things already bloomed out, so a lot of trees. But he said the elms and stuff like that ain't gonna hurt them, so. Seasonal maintenance, they've been focusing mainly on the golf shop, This has temporarily reduced the time available for other routine tasks. It is anticipated hopefully by the end of February, the crew will be resuming their regular pre-construction maintenance activities. Upcoming work, I didn't tell, the Broadmoor lift station, the pump has been, I think he's ordered it, I'm not for sure, but that's the main issue. Also, as we discussed last week, or last month, we have I would classify it as a major issue with the sewer line on Broadmoor. Basically, it looks like it's settled and separated, and it's this 6-inch main that feeds the lift station. The contractor we have, he's moving in, if he didn't move in today, he's gonna move in the morning, is the same one. We hired a contractor that'll do the irrigation, move the irrigation, do the sewer lines, and we're gonna take him over there, because we cannot handle it. It's 17 or 18 feet deep. There's something we can't handle, and it's gonna be major, because, you know, you get that deep, and time you get your shoring, Mike knows all about this, you get your shoring in, and you get your slope of your ditches. We're gonna be taking out driveways, part of the street, the curb, because you just can't get down there without digging it. Even though moving what dirt we can move as fast as we can move it to get out of the street, you're still gonna have a pretty good sized hole to be able, and we don't know how much we'll actually have to take out and realign, so. I was telling, Will asked me, I think, about what budget, and I said, I was gonna guess probably between $75,000 and $100,000 before we get through, because we're gonna have probably, I'm guessing $20,000 or $25,000 just in refurbishing or putting back what we tore out. You know, by the time we get the street and the curbs and the yards and the driveways, and hopefully the people are nice enough.
Okay.
And they seem to be real nice people.
That's what I was wondering, about all the homeowners involved in that, they are aware of what's gonna go on?
The one homeowner that would be affected the most is, it's got a circular driveway, and it appears from we can turn our equipment, it's right between the two driveways. So we'll probably only be dealing with one homeowner.
Okay,
And then, so that's pretty well everything on the upcoming. We're gonna try to get all the equipment back up and running. We've got some equipment down that we need to get running. So, but anyone got any questions?
Okay, let's move on to, Will, to the Animal Control and Patrol Activity Report.
All right, thanks, Johnny. So animal control was a pretty normal month throughout January for Mr. Mason. There were 2 events of note. First was BAT. We're gonna go to a training course this next week about the proper way to handle bats, because there's been some miscommunication on that. We don't want anybody to have to go get the rabies vaccine due to any of our actions. So we're gonna go, and I'll attend it too, make sure the county gets us the right information so we can keep our community safe from rabid animals. And then second, he doesn't do it very often, but we did kick a dog out of town because it bit Jerry. Not very badly, but it was intending to do harm, he says. And they voluntarily, the owners voluntarily chose to get it out of town. Otherwise, we were going to seek a warrant to seize the animal. Patrol, I guess, ordinance enforcement. Yeah. So this month was a slow month, and I'm going to do a ride along with Steve, see if we can get those numbers up a little bit. We're going to be focusing on trash cans that are visible and cars that are parked on the street when they're not supposed to be. Calls received in the last month, seven on the ordinance line, 4 to City Hall. We are largely complaint driven, so if you do see something, please do let us know. He wrote 5 written parking violations. All were complied. I do not have numbers on how many of those were recidivists. I know you do want that, so I'll try to get that to you.
Yeah.
Trash can violations, 1 door hanger notice that did comply. Grass, weed, limb, debris, and unkept yards, 4 door hangers, all complied. 2 written notices for unkept yards, those did comply as well. 1 commercial yard sign, 3 Christmas light warnings, 1 roof permit, and the Firestone large skeleton was also brought down.
you know, I think, is the ordinance written as holiday lights?
Yeah, it's holiday decorations.
That was
Okay.
not a holiday decoration, that was a family.
No, I'm not talking about but the lights. There's more than 3 up, because I happened to be out after
Oh, yeah.
dark. But one of them had red and pink, you know, and had Valentine stuff, so that's why I'm asking the question is holiday, because there's still a lot of lights up that people must have permanent lights. So can they keep them up if they don't turn them on? Is that within, I mean, I think that's what we have to look at.
I was forced to take my lights off.
Yeah,
because
I
My
think-
husband died, and I didn't have them on, I just had them on the house.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm saying there's a lot more than 3 that I have noticed that not only are they up, but they're on at night.
You're gonna
Yeah.
have to make a determination between landscape lighting
Yes,
and
right.
decoration.
Well, this is lights on the roof line.
Like Christmas lights.
And that's my question. So I think we all, between, you know, I don't know since it originally started with the POA, CCNR, of what you think the definition is, so that our ordinance can mirror, or we just need to come up with the same criteria. So that our ordinance officer knows what is the proper way of handling it.
I would
That's
think if the lights are
exactly the-
on the house, but they're not on, I don't see why that would be a problem.
Yeah, but I know I got dinged with it one time too, before I was mayor.
We'll get it straightened out.
Huh?
We'll get it straightened out.
Okay, I'm just thinking, we just need to clarify it so everybody understands, because some people will say, well, this person has it, but I was told not. So that's the reason I think we just need to make sure we're consistent.
Can I talk about the ordinance, animal control report?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Second. A lot of his problem with the animals was that they were animals that were not registered with the city. Major problem with.
Yeah.
So do we need to put another notice in the newsletter?
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
Or can you add that, Will, for
Absolutely.
tomorrow's newsletter? Okay.
And last thing with code enforcement, we do have that building that construction is stalled at 422 St. Andrews, I believe. We've been in contact with our attorneys. We have the code enforcement report given to them. They're going to draft a letter. I haven't received it yet, but the day I get it, we're going to send it certified to the company that owns that building and then post the same letter on the property. 10 days subsequent to that posting, we can begin moving stuff off of that property and begin the abatement process. We'll have to retain it and store it safely, but we'll get it cleaned up.
What was the problem?
I still haven't been able to
We
communicate.
don't know, they just stopped working.
They don't answer phones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, they stopped working on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, suspended construction.
okay.
Going from memory, I think
He
it's
says 422 St. Andrews. I don't know if that's exactly right or
It's
not.
It's on the
Corner of-
corner of St. Andrews
And Preston Trail, yeah.
Yeah.
St. Andrew and Preston Trail.
Yep. Moving on, unless there are any other questions.
Well, I have a question on the patrol activity, it's on here, but I have heard complaints, and I actually saw it. There is a group of young boys on these small motorized motorcycles racing down the street. Girls also? Okay. And I've seen it, and I've had complaints from other people, and obviously, if we don't see them, then do them about, but what, I wanted to ask Officer Chaffee, that's not legal, right?
No, it's perfectly legal.
It's perfectly legal?
Remember the speed limit, it's not over 40 cc's. I don't know if I spoke to them yesterday, but there was a group of children, I don't know, about 14 to 10 years old-ish. Oh, no, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks, Rich.
So yes, good. Okay, so yesterday I came across it was a golf cart with about 4 children, about 15 to 10 years old-ish. Golf cart, or not the golf cart, the kids were very illegal, their dirt bike, or their electric bike, dirt bike things.
No, well, my concern was, they're not in the lane, they just are over the whole street. I mean,
Where
so,
are you talking about on, Turkey Run?
no, they came down Broadmoor,
They
right,
came down
you know,
Broadmoor like-
but I mean, on, where was yours?
On Firestone.
On Firestone, but that was my concern, was that they were like four abreast, you know, and just right in the middle of the street going
Well,
down.
Code's written as if there are no lane markers or are no lanes, you don't need to stay in any lane.
Oh, okay,
The only area in Meadow Lake that has lanes is Meadow Lakes Drive.
okay, okay,
So if I go around somebody, or you go around somebody on Broadmoor, that's perfectly legal.
right, because there's no lines,
There's
okay.
no lines.
Oh, wow.
Or markers.
No, yeah, no lines.
Lane
no
markers or
there's
lines.
nothing there.
Yeah, well, in addition to that, those young residents are also getting into the parks and riding their, especially on Dollar Park on Mahan. And, in fact, there was an individual, a resident here, who went on next door and talked about a woman with her two kids were gonna go to park, and these kids were running those bikes and doing wheelies and speeding along inside the park. And she left with her children because she felt it was unsafe. So now, we don't have any type of signage that does not permit motorized vehicles inside a park, which we can get. But it's, they're just, one, they have no, parenting is not very good, I don't believe. And these kids are just, they're being kids. But fact of the matter is, when you start running these bikes, or whatever, you know, electric bikes inside our parks, then that is a hazard.
Well, I agree with that, it's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, I'm just,
So, I mean, if I don't see it, I can't do anything about it.
No,
Right.
that's the problem if you don't see it, but at least we were trying to, I just was trying to understand what the law was, so when people ask her, but I mean, unless we just put something in a newsletter asking parents, you know, just to, say what is this, for safety bicycle, we've always done, you know, which side of the road, even if there's not a, just from common sense, I mean,
I agree 100%.
I mean, and that's about all we can do
I gotta
then
work
is,
within-
Yeah.
Within the law and not outside the law, and it says,
Yeah.
you know, they can.
so with,
do it, but it is what it is.
so with the electric bicycle, are they supposed to be riding with the traffic or against the traffic?
With the traffic.
With the traffic, okay,
Generally, I've seen them with the traffic.
And they stop at the stop signs, right? There's a
They're
Yeah.
using all traffic laws, stop and stop signs, obey the speed limit, all that
okay,
normal stuff.
Okay.
They don't need a helmet on. Most of them do have helmets on, they don't need
Yeah.
a helmet.
okay. So, thank
So
you for
unless you're
clarifying
around,
that.
then there's not a whole
Yeah.
lot we can do about it.
No.
Same for your part, not around the
We just have to hope we have some parents that are concerned that the kids may be endangering themselves, but. Thank you so much for the
Thank you,
clarification.
officer. Sylvia. Okay,
All right, moving
let's
on
move
to
on,
the
let's move on.
building committee. And
I'm sorry, was that all in the patrol activity report?
we can go over it a little more if any.
What would you
council
like,
to.
ma'am? Yeah, that is all the traffic report.
One fence issue permit issued, butchered that, sorry. One new construction permit for a total of two. One was denied, and there are 3 remodels, 5 new constructions, and 3 swimming pools in progress. One of those new constructions in progress is that 422 St. Andrews I mentioned earlier. Any questions on that? All right, and our golf pro is unfortunately out sick today, so I don't have a report from him. We can cover that a little bit in our community center update if you
Okay.
have any questions about that. But I can tell you that going into our financial reports, we've had a lot more employee expense in the last month than we had budgeted for. Luckily, it's not in dire straits by any means. A lot of that has to do with one, employee hiring their own replacement, which was needed, so we had an extra employee for a little bit. And then two, we've had extra employees working extra days so that we can get moved as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's, before we get into the meat of it, the old business and new business, let's get through the consent items, the minutes of the previous council meetings. It should be in your package. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, there's a motion in order to,
I
The
move
floor
we
is in order.
accept the minutes from
okay.
January 20th,
Is there a second?
2026.
Second.
You second? Okay, second, Barbara. All in favor of accepting the minutes? Okay, thank you. And financial statements, is it a brief report or
It
a long
is.
report?
It'll
Okay,
be
let's
brief.
go ahead and go through that, and then we'll get on to the meat of the meeting.
All right, first, it's not displayed on the screen, but I will tell you, it is in your packet. Assets
Mhm.
versus liability. Total liabilities and equity for the general fund is $875,000. Debt service is $51,000. Capital improvements is $7.3 million. Utility is $4.9 million. And recreation fund is $1,085,000 for a total of liabilities and equity of $14,295,000. Up here, you can see the bottom line is the total fund profit and loss. I have it as gain loss. For the general fund, year to date, we are positive $150,000. Utility fund is positive 11,000. Recreation is negative 61,000 for a net gain of 99,000 overall. Cumulative admin revenue, you can see that the darker blue is the actual and the lighter, I'm sorry, darker green is the actual and the lighter green is the projected cumulative revenue. We have not gotten all of our property taxes in. You can compare that with our expenses here, where our expenses have been much less, so it kind of offsets. Going into our profit loss, we're ahead of where or we're right about where we anticipated being. And going into our utility fund, our actual cumulative revenue is about $50,000 higher than we anticipated. Expenses are much lower than we had budgeted so far. You can see that our profit versus loss, we are anticipating at this point in the fiscal year to be negative. We're still positive. We will have more expenses that'll come over time that'll push us down a little bit. Going on to our revenue for our recreation fund, we are about $50,000 ahead of where we had anticipated. Lots of good sales, pretty good numbers for the golf course so far. And here's that expense I mentioned earlier that we're also almost, I think it's about $60,000 higher, $70,000 higher in expense than we were planning on being. You can see
What's driving that?
in large part, it is extra time being worked.
Oh,
by employees.
okay.
Yep.
Payroll.
I have a question in terms of the payroll. We only have two full-time, the two pros are full-time, right?
We've
And then-
got,
And then the other people that work in the pro shop, they're just part-time?
Mhm.
Are they do they get a monetary, or do they get golf privileges?
the vast majority of them are, who you see ringing you up, are salaried, well,
I
they're
mean,
hourly employees.
they
who
are
make a wage.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, because I had been asked that question, and I said, I just assumed that they were paid hourly, and not golf privileges, so, okay.
That's correct.
But I wonder, do we have some that,
There are a
ask,
couple,
yeah.
where it's just kind of, they donate their time or they're paid through being able to golf a little bit.
okay. Because I think somehow, usually it's kind of like an in-kind agreement that it needs to be recognized so we understand what's monetary and what's in kind overall, so we can understand what it really costs to run that pro shop. That's what I was.
I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is that
That all
included?
includes that, yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and have a motion to accept the financials as delivered.
I so move.
Mike moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Carolyn seconded. All in favor? Okay. Now then, we're going to move on to old business. The update on the community center complex project and the golf cart facility. Johnny,
We'll have a couple.
are you going to do it or Johnny?
We're gonna have a couple different speakers on this.
Right, I agree. We're going to have several of them that are present in the audience today.
I'm gonna run over the temporary pro shop, that part of it, because, you know, I had a certain amount of money to do my part. And then we'll tag team with Zach and Ryan on the rest of it, because they can give you the update better on the new construction than I can on the building. But the temporary pro shop, you know, we're about 95% finished. Exterior painting needs to be done. As I mentioned earlier, the parking lot area hopefully will be finished no later than middle of next week. They say Friday, but we'll see. The utility contractor is moving in that I mentioned earlier, and his first job is to relocate the 3-inch irrigation line. It runs under all the concrete up by the pro shop. So that's his first charge. While he's doing that, we'll also be looking again about the repair of the stuff on Broadmoor, because that's gonna take some specialized equipment to do that. So the equipment he's gonna do, our utility work is not large enough.
Which is he doing first?
He's gonna do the irrigation first,
Okay.
then and then he'll do probably that line repair.
Okay.
We did have a meeting, last week, wasn't it? When we talked about the manholes and all that. They're redoing Civil's redoing the engineering on the manholes, because they had us 11-foot manhole for no reason. And of course, the deeper it is, the more it costs us.
Yeah.
And we all sat around and said, I don't know what it actually is coming out at, 7.5 or? 7 to 8 feet, yeah, but he's supposed to have that done this week. All right, so, anyway, so it'd be probably 8-foot manhole instead of a 11-foot, which will save us money all the way down. So those drawings, so then he'll start those. And the way this contractor works, just to be upfront with you, it's basically a day-to-day contract. And he's got it in phases, of giving us an approximate cost per phase, keeping under 50,000, which could have been under 100 now, but we kept it under 50. And we pay for materials, like bedding materials, we pay for all that. So basically all we're paying him for is labor and equipment. But they're all broken down into some 50, some 20. The largest one is going to be to a private contractor that he has retained on our behalf to bore about 180 feet. Because we've looked at all the options in regarding to this bore, because it's down property line between two houses. It's got finished yards. And open cut, if we could get the construction easement, because we only have 5 foot, and you can't put a 8-foot line. You can't dig it. So we'd have to get temporary construction easements from him. So I guess we kind of just kicked it around, and that was going to be about $50,000. So we figured it, and I mean, am I dealing with tearing up yards? It's worth $20,000 not to have to do it, because you'll be fixing everything in that yard for the next 5 years. So we kind of opted to go ahead and that's a large portion of the project. That's about not quite half the project is that one board.
Yeah.
But they're putting the 8-inch casing in and then laying, and it has to be gravity, so it's not just your typical bore. So that's the biggest thing there. So hopefully that will get started. And he's going to start on that end and move uphill. And the route of the sewer line is along the driving range. I guess to be the west side of the driving range, and come up and cut across the driving range, and then tie back in and actually run down the tennis courts fence line. There's a lot of, and we talked about there was some issues there because of they've got an outfall line. They can explain it here in a minute, but they had an outfall line, and we had the sewer line, and if it being 11 foot, they were worried because there's not only 20 foot or so in there to work. There's the fluffing off. Oh, I'm just not talking up close enough to it. But anyway, so that is, Ryan and Zach and them have been very, very cooperative in helping us reroute the cart paths where they're not as confusing. The signage, we're going to have permanent signage made. I hadn't got that done yet, but that's going to be done. Really, the mess will be when the utility contractor cuts across that cart path going down the tennis court that actually goes to 10 and everywhere else. When he cuts that, it'll really be confusing on how to get anywhere. But hopefully I can get him to do that on a Monday morning or something. And then, of course, it'll be disturbed, be messed up again in more detail when we start putting in the sewer line.
Yeah.
But,
Johnny, because we're gonna be so long in doing construction, I would like us, you know, right now that the cart paths, it's extremely narrow. 'Cause in order for us to get to 10, there's only one way to do it. And then there's a big pothole there, but because the construction fencing comes onto the existing concrete cart path, it makes it much more narrow. And with the amount of traffic we're gonna
Oh,
have
gosh,
of
yeah.
carts, I think we really need to make sure that we have really sufficient, something that looks like a cart path and tells them how to get across.
Where the rock garden and all that stuff is?
Well, you know, right between, when we leave the,
Oh,
it's right by the tennis court. So it's really narrow to get between the tennis court fence and the construction fence.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
And
We can work on that.
Just work on that, and then the other thing is, because then we've been cutting behind the construction fencing, and then we have to turn and go across the berms. If you're not familiar with the golf course and you don't know, okay, you're hitting 10, but then you gotta go over that one to go over to 9.
Yeah,
We need to either make something that looks like a cart path so that people will know, because they're driving all over the place because
Yeah.
they don't know where they're going.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and one thing I thought is that, you know, like I think Mike had said something about schools and stuff, is you don't put sidewalks in at first, because they're gonna drive or they're gonna walk where they want to. So I thought that maybe we let, you know, 2 or 3 weeks where we can kinda get an idea where they're driving. But we are gonna put signs up along the fence, number 10, you know, because they're getting lost even turning the fence.
Oh, yes, I know.
So we're gonna get arrows put up and signage is made.
Right.
David's did a pretty good job on the signage, but we're gonna get permanent signage and some arrows and some directional.
Right.
We hadn't figured out yet what to do between 9 and 10.
Right, and that's where the
That's
problem is,
where the
because
problem
people
is.
don't want to drive, they don't think they should be driving up on the
Yeah.
berm part of it. And
The-
so they're not quite sure where they're supposed to be going.
Correct me, Will, I think that's where we were talking about putting in a cul-de-sac. That's what I'd call it, between 9 and 10, where they could just turn around and they go back, and we'd have to put a path in front of the ladies' green, or tee box between 9 and 10, where they could
Yes,
go back, straight back.
okay,
So-
yeah.
So it's in process, it's just, you know,
Right.
be honest with you, it's difficult to get everything keep running.
Oh, I know that,
And-
but I was
and-
just thinking, in the planning, just because we get so much outside play on the weekends that,
It's confusing as heck.
you know, people just don't know where they're going. And then if they don't do that, what they will do is, if you're going from 9 to 1, they'll cut right, and it's really rough all through that area, then cut across the parking lot. Well, that means they're driving all of these golf carts over these bumpy land. So I'm, you know, yeah, they'll do that, because
Because right now, he's got two-way traffic on it to get from.
yeah, but
from
I'm just
there.
saying that some of them don't know to go back over that berm
Yeah,
area,
that's
and so
more-
what they're
we need
doing
some
is
more
cutting
signage.
across, and then cut across the parking lot to get over to 1.
Yeah, because,
Yeah, because see, like, if you're
That's
only
basically what
playing
the-
9 holes, you'll go from 9, and if you don't start at 1, like we do scrambles, or, you know, shotgun starts, they'll be on 9, they may start on 8 and 9, and then they have to figure out a way to get to 1.
yeah.
And we just need to make it more
Yeah,
obvious
we
to
gotta
them.
get more signage,
Yeah.
but that's the way they're gonna have to do it when they're cutting that cart path off by the tennis court, is they're gonna have to go all the way around, all that,
Right,
That's right.
yeah,
the
yeah, so just,
erosion control fencing to get behind the water tank and all that to even get back over there, 'cause that's the only way you can get there.
right,
Because everything else will be cut off, so.
Okay.
And then, again, I'm just let Ryan and Zach and whoever else
do their
Brooke?
deal on the updates.
Why don't we
They know
get-
more than I do.
Why don't we get either Ryan or Zach or both of you to
Or
talk to us a
whoever
little
else
bit
is up here.
about something that's going to be coming up later on, and we've got Brooke here too to help us out on the decoration. But let's go ahead and tell us what the need is for this thing. Because we're kind of lost on this.
Thank you, Mayor, for having us, and you're referring to the,
It's on,
It's on.
It's on.
yeah,
Yeah, I
Light's
see the
on.
light. I see the light.
yeah.
are you referring to some months ago when we suggested that the city engage with an interior designer?
That's right.
Yes, sir. We just feel that the city would, and the council and the citizens would just benefit from engaging with the interior design person, professional, to help with the selections process, because on a project this scale, this size and scale, and this importance, there's, it seems difficult to imagine a volunteer position of handling this adequately. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made, they have to be made in sequence and scheduled and coordinated with, there's probably literally hundreds of decisions to be
Right.
made, and they're not, you don't get it right the first time. You have to go back and forth, you're trying to select the colors and the materials that are commercial grade and quality, and to try to, and also hit a budget number. There's a lot of factors, and then those materials have to be brought back to a council or to a committee to review.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of work. And from our side, to run an efficient construction project, we need that process has to start very early, and we need someone who knows the process, knows the ropes, and can work ahead of us in a lot of cases, and in conjunction with others. And when we're working back and forth to try to meet a budget number, while also meeting the design intent to deliver a project that everyone can be proud of.
Zach, you have anything to add of stories where you didn't use one?
Not stories.
Oh.
No, but I would say the biggest thing is if you include interior designer early on, they bring the whole picture together. Right now, everybody at the City of Meadow Lakes has seen a beautiful building in the exterior. We've got a pretty good idea of what's going on in there. But no one in this room, us included, know what the inside truly looks like. We have an idea that we're gonna have a certain type of door, we have an idea that we're gonna have a certain type of cabinet, but in terms of bringing all of those things together, that's completely unknown right now. If it's not handled correctly and early, you end up with a pretty big headache and a lot of complaints from the citizens at the end, and to us. And everybody will say, why'd you do that? And we'll say, well, that's what was picked, and no one will be happy about that. It makes for unpleasant conversations. Mark, what you're probably referring to is I've done it before, and it's been successful, where they picked it out on their own, but they've been through the process before, they've done it, they know how it works. And then I've been on the other side of that, and at the end of it, they hated me. Because I call and I'm saying, okay, have we thought through this, have we thought through that? And at some point, that just gets annoying. And they say, why do you keep bugging me about this? Well, we've got to put it in at some point. We've got to finish. So that would be my spiel that we would recommend it.
The interior designer even can take it a little bit further, coordinating all of the construction materials to the furniture, fixtures, furnishings of the project. It's not just the construction, but it's tying all that together. So it's all coordinated.
Barbara?
Are you saying that an interior designer was not part of the budget for the construction?
Not part of the construction budget, no.
Not part of their budget.
Not part of our budget either.
I don't think so either.
No,
Well, hold
So
on,
how much more is that gonna cost?
hold on.
no, there is some money for furnishings, it's kind of a
Oh,
lump.
yeah, there's like
That-
300 some odd thousand.
Yeah,
in there
but that's
for
where it
that.
would come under, is that money for all the furnishings and,
Just don't want it to increase the price of that.
No.
It was a lump sum.
It was a lump
buy
sum.
early on.
Yeah, it was a
Called
lump sum.
FF&E,
Right,
Furniture, fixtures,
right.
and equipment. But none of that was selected. They said, we know we're going to have to put stuff in
something in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But we haven't yet decided who's gonna pick that out.
Gotcha.
right.
So it would
And-
have to come out of that.
So who's
But-
gonna hire the interior designer?
They would be a consultant to the city.
We
I'm
do,
sorry, sir?
we do.
The city.
City
Okay.
would hire.
So
But-
maybe the architect and engineer.
You know, because we almost have to work at from the things that we know, like in the kitchen, that we're definitely gonna have to buy,
Yeah.
and then see how much money is left, you know, to see what we have for, flooring and all of that. So the exterior, though, I guess the materials for the exterior, is that included, you know, because we have to have it, we have to have the whole thing match. I know we always looked at originally when we did as a committee of what we thought a typical kind of exterior. We never really settled on it. We kind of talked about it with some general ideas of cost. And I think that, but I felt like that we need to decide that of what we want the exterior to look like, and then get the interior, you know, to match it. So,
Take that initial feedback and possibly the rendering from the architect, and we'll build an exterior mock-up wall of all those materials.
right, yes, yeah,
Several of them.
yeah, I've done that, worked with that before. So, so I think it's more of understanding, for us, understanding the scope of what needs to be included, because, one, we're not doing a whole lot of furniture, and we're not doing window coverings. So it's really a lot of the surfaces, stuff that's not gonna be replaced, so obviously we wanna make sure it's done right the first time. So it's going to be the color, you know, whatever colors we're gonna use, the flooring, the paint, and of course, anything in the kitchen area, the bar area.
Okay, I can't keep quiet.
Go ahead, I know, Mike, you're a.
All right, so
Yeah.
what you're saying is that the architect did not pick out the colors of the walls. They did not pick out the types of doors for the spaces. They didn't pick out the type of flooring that's gonna go down. They didn't pick out the type of ceiling that's gonna go up. None of that was in the specifications.
None of well, it may show carpet, there's not a selection for the
Is
carpet.
it blue
Well-
carpet, green carpet, gray carpet? The doors.
The
there's a
architect comes up with
manufacturer.
those colors.
He says it's plastic laminate doors, that sort of thing, but paint colors, he doesn't know the owner's intent for the space with the total vision. of it,
That
so he
comes
doesn't
with,
swing.
that comes through consultation with the owner. And the architect is the key to the interior, the completion of the interior as far as you're concerned. And they even should specify if there's gonna be wall sconces in some rooms, what type of fixture that should be. That should be in the specifications. That's part of the bid package that's shown on the drawings. As far as, the only thing we should be concerned about as the owners is the type of furniture that we're gonna purchase to put in the rooms.
Currently, it's not to that level. The plans show they may show wall sconces with a selected wall sconce, for instance, but
Uh-huh.
there's not material selections. And I don't know, I haven't seen the.
Why? Where's the architect in there? Why aren't we still meeting? If this project that we're starting is still incomplete, why aren't we meeting with the architect?
Well, I guess we can look
should
at
have
the
him
plans.
in one of our
Mike,
meetings.
we probably ought to look at the plans and have you look at them and
These gentlemen are building the building off of the facility, off of the plans. So unless you're familiar with construction, you look at a set of drawings and all you're gonna see is lines. You know, but there should be a schedule on the drawings that says what type of flooring goes in that room, what type of colors go on these walls. There should be, you know, that's how the painter figures out what paint he needs to get based upon the specifications and the schedule of colors for the finish. The doors, you know, they should have the type of door they want in this building based on code for each room. Architect should already have that information there. Whether that door swings left or it swings right, it opens in or it opens out. All that should be on the drawings. We shouldn't be talking about this at this point. You know, as far as carpeting goes, there should be a schedule in the finish-out schedule. There should be a list of the types of carpet that manufacturer and colors. Now, each manufacturer may have a different color. We may have to look at a color scheme with they should bring something to us saying, all right, these are the colors you had to pick from. But you choose from that color scheme what the owner wants for the type of color, not type of flooring.
Which I think is kind of what we're talking about right now.
But you're saying
We
that
have-
your drawings don't have that.
So our drawings, they show, let's say we're in the dining room. It says that room has carpet. And so we can do that. We can give you the budget and say, these are the color options for the carpet. And what we're saying we think would be in the best interest of the city.
Color doesn't dictate
It-
budget. Manufacturer dictates your budget, what you
Yes, sir.
have to spend.
Yes, sir.
for
What
that.
I'm trying to say is that we can come to you and say, the manufacturer has these color options, and what we're advocating for, and we think in y'all's interest, is to have an interior designer to make that selection, because they will have a vision for the entire building, so that we don't end up picking blue carpet here, green carpet over there, and it doesn't go together.
And that makes sense, but what I was hearing from you two is that you have no clue.
I think
There's
we're.
nothing in your
We know
spec-
exactly what we're gonna build with what materials, but there are many, many selections that aren't, specific selections that aren't included in these
There
drawings.
shouldn't be door types.
There are. I'm happy to sit down to the drawings with you and go through them, but there's things for the door lever style that'll have to be selected.
Door hardware, they don't have that picked up?
Not to the level that you're thinking. It may be, there may not be a hardware spec on there. We may budget for that, we know what it's gonna cost. but
We
there
need
may
to
be a
talk to the
lever
architect.
Yes.
I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to beat you guys up. It's just, you're mentioning things that are, to me, foreign, that should have already been.
And I think we're, in a way, saying the same thing, because, like, let's take door hardware, for instance. Door hardware, we have door hardware picked up. Offhand, I can think of 5 different lever styles that we would select from. It's who is going to make the decision to use one versus the other. On doors, we have plastic laminate doors. There are about 200 plastic laminate options to pick from on those doors. Who will make that decision? On the door frames, we have aluminum door frames. We can do whichever we want. Do we want silver or black? Somebody to bring that vision together, and the architect, he leaves that to the owner typically, just to make sure you have the budget accounted for to make that decision when it's time.
Okay.
Is that typical for your jobs, Zach?
Hey, Ryan?
Thank-
Yes, sir. When your scope of work, when you get it done, will you be able to get a CO?
You'll be what?
Okay,
What?
so all your flooring will be in and all that
Yes,
stuff?
we have 100% of the materials
Okay.
accounted for.
But it's not all bid in, is that what you're saying?
No, it is bid in. We know what it's gonna cost, but what we're saying is that while
It's just decisions.
it's the decisions that have to be made, with using hardware, are they gonna be black or silver? Is it gonna be a straight blade?
Do you want to upgrade? You have a bid in for all that stuff?
We have bid for all.
So if we want to upgrade, we could do that. It's up to us if, as a city, if what we want to choose.
You could do that, we would guide you that, let's not select those. that are
Well-
So you've got a whole complete building.
We don't wanna pay the architect
Bid.
any more money than we paid them, right?
Does the architect have any material design
No.
they normally work with?
Wait a minute.
Okay, wait a minute, wait.
Yes, we can't, this is.
The way the
yeah.
meeting works
Okay.
is we talk,
Yeah, okay,
and
Well, ask questions.
okay.
Yeah.
I would like to,
And I don't mean to be impolite, but really, the reason is that the state requires you to have an agenda, and if you start getting off that by having people, there's a city rule that we don't have speaking from the audience unless called upon. And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I don't mean to be rude or
Yeah,
anything like
okay.
that, but that's just the way,
Yeah.
the rules we have to go by.
You know, I think probably is, what you're getting at is that, did we have a range of prices of, we expect flooring for the grade that we need is gonna be, for the square footage that we have, is this amount of money. And so then we have to have somebody that understands how to go find those things to say, okay, this would fit in it. But we've never really seen, you know, I know it's all in the bid, it's just that we've never looked at anything individually. And the original material with the architect had presented to the committee way back then. You know, we had a general idea, and we thought that that's what was kind of, because we talked about different kind of stucco and stuff, and so we assumed that that's in, you know, in the bid, and I, you know, I think, you know, Mike is quite aware of all of that, but it's making a decision of what is it gonna look like, and we've not seen samples, and I guess that's what we're kind of, you know, we kind of lost our committee. It kind of got caught up in all of this when we were doing this.
Yeah.
We got, because the construction got so delayed with all the stuff that we were doing. And so now we've got to figure out how to get back on track that we can make these decisions.
Here's my issue.
Okay.
From what I'm hearing, we're giving a set of bid documents to this contractor to build our building, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to finishes, which the architect should have already addressed. We shouldn't be looking at 5 or 6 different sets of hardware and say, oh, well, we like that one. They should have somebody trained in interior design that works with them. Or maybe they're an interior designer themselves that, or have the training that says this color scheme would work best. This in these areas, based on, you know, what we think that the owner wants.
Let me ask, Johnny, let me ask you something on this. When we hired the architect, do you remember the scope, that whether this was included in the scope or whether it was,
I don't think selection actual hardware.
I don't think it was either.
They did give us a basic interior design.
Well, so what we're
building would look like interior wise, you know, through their fly-proofs and stuff. Of course, that's changed some because some of the items that they spec'd in that has, you know, found something cheaper. But, you know, because we discussed lighting fixtures and all of that in great detail because their lighting package was way out of sight. But actual selection of the hardware was not addressed that I can recall. So that was one of the things we assumed that they would do.
it should be included in the construction documents.
But they just give you.
All right.
just
Now,
give you a
what
price,
I don't want to do
which
is
they
pay.
certain price on the hardware. Is that
Right, we're using hardware, but there's a lot of, using hardware as an example, but there's a lot of examples that, you know, it's really no different than the stone on the exterior. Is it gonna be a Luter's stone, a white stone? Is it gonna be a beige stucco or a white stucco?
Mhm.
It's making those kind of selections.
Okay, no, this is
So
like
what are we
construction.
gonna do?
101.
Well,
I don't
okay.
Back to the
understand.
architect and say
No.
to fix
I don't
this
want us to pay
problem?
twice. We paid an architect to give us a complete set of documents. By complete, it includes color schemes.
Yeah.
It includes hardware. It includes the color of the stucco, the color of the rock. You know, there shouldn't be any questions on that. That architect should have provided that already.
Well, we don't
So
know
now
what,
we're
we
gonna
don't,
have
Mike,
to pay again?
we don't know whether it was in his scope, though. If he's delivered what
normal
we told him,
scope.
what we
That's
asked him to
normal, right?
do,
The guy's an architect.
I didn't understand that. He's registered architect, but I don't know what was in his, I don't recall whether this was in his scope. I don't think it was. So he's doing what we paid him to do. If we come back and say, do the interior design for us, he's just gonna have to pay some other contractor, or we can pay that contractor. It's one or the other. We'll pay it either way.
I don't know if this has any bearing in this or not, but I do recall early conversations. At one time, there was gonna be some citizens, a volunteer committee. that made
And we
these
did.
selections.
We were on that, but then it kind of, it didn't go, you know, it kind of went away. I mean, because I was on the
Wait,
committee.
That was the reason it was not reflected in the architect's contracts, because the
Yeah.
city intended to handle that in-house, I don't know.
We were just going to give them, idea, we were gonna listen to them and give them ideas of what we were looking for. That was the scope of what we did, of like what we needed. I wanted card rooms, I wanted to make sure we had flex, that kind of stuff. And we did talk just one time, or a little bit, about colors, and the type of stucco and what we wanted it to look like. But we never got down to, were asked to look at, like hardware, what kind of hard flooring, we'd gotten some inputs about wood versus, tile, floors, and then,
They were using that, I would imagine,
yeah.
to make the material selection. They don't want carpet here, they want tile.
Right,
They
and
don't
that's,
want
and
wood
that's,
here, they
that's all we were ever asked to do, on that part of it. But I think what we need to do is we need to understand what are the things that we still, as the owner, need to pick out and be responsible for, so that we can make a decision of, if we're hiring an interior designer, what is the scope of work we want them to do? I've worked with designers, and I know that they can go all over the place, and so, and some, but that's why we need to make sure that we have the same idea, the same scope in mind. And I think that's what we need, is a listing of what are you expecting us to pick out? Or have, not them, us, but have
Let me,
them do.
go
I'd
ahead,
like to make a
Barbara.
suggestion that we get a committee or something, but we cannot make those decisions here.
This is, we're kind of getting carried
No, we
away with the
can't.
discussion,
So
but
we need a
I would like to,
committee or something.
I would like to say Mike's making a good point. If we need to research the contract with the architect to see whether he's did performed as we expected, or whether there's some things that we thought we expected and he really didn't do it. I think that's a key question. Was he acting in good faith and said, I'm gonna blow this off? I don't think he did. But I think, the question is, what did we ask for?
Right.
And then I think we need a list of what it is, the things that we expect someone to bring us samples of.
Let me just say this, we got another guest here, Brooke, who serves as an interior designer for projects like this.
Okay.
And she might be able to shed a little bit of light on what an interior designer does.
All right.
Thank you,
Yes?
Mayor. Thank you. I'm Brooke Rackstrom, and I've been an interior designer for 30 years, and sort of before that, grew up with my mom was a serial renovator, and so just sort of always had it around me. And I see my role as being, my focus is to, you can hear me? No, ma'am. Oh, can you hear me? Is this not on?
It's on, it's on.
You see a little LED readout in front?
Can you hear me now?
Not well.
No, I don't think it's magnified.
Here, I can get.
The light's on.
Just gotta hold it a little closer.
Here, fine, okay.
Oh, the battery,
Okay.
I can see it.
Oh,
The
all right,
battery's
is that
weak.
better?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I've been an interior designer for 30 years, and my role, I see, especially with this project, is I have a responsibility to be a good steward of the tax dollars. But the main thing that I would focus on is the safety of the materials that are picked out, because it's being used by the public. The difference between what an interior designer does and an architect, in my experience of what I've seen, the architect usually has been focusing on the envelope of the building and the materials on the envelope of the building, and then basically from the material of the drywall in is what I focus on. And so I've worked with projects where architects have maybe done sort of a basic kind of starter level of things. Here we can start at this starting off point of materials and colors and finishes. But they're not looking at what the whole final is going to be. What is the furniture? What is the use? I spend a lot of time with the clients getting to know them and how they picture using the space. And then I know what the furniture is going to be and how is that going to work with the finishes on the walls and the floors and everything. So I'm looking at the whole thing basically from the drywall in. If they've already made some decisions that are set because of a meeting that already happened, then I work from that inward, from that point. Otherwise, if they said, oh, that was sort of like a space holder, and it's okay to change the model number or the color, but stay within the function and especially stay within the budget, then I might change it a little bit to be working with the whole thing, so it's all has a harmonious feel to it. You know, like for the outside around the pool, I've done pools and barbecue pits and kitchens and the whole thing. An example, just to show you, I brought a couple of boards of something. So, I'll show it up here first, I guess, is there a camera or something? So this is a rendering of a bathroom at a convent I'm working on right now. And the architect specified tile, vanity, hand shower at one end, safety rails and everything, but they didn't pick out the model numbers or the color or the finishes. And so that's what I did. And so for the flooring, is it upside down? No, okay. So for the flooring, like I picked a tile that has an extra level of anti-slip on it because the women that are living here are in their 70s and 80s and have walkers and different mobility levels. So they might have said tile, but they didn't say what size, but they gave a budget. And so I picked the size and the finish and the color, and then I know what the accent tiles were going to be, and then I, picked all the plumbing because I know what's going on behind the walls. And so I work with the subcontractors and the contractors. I've worked with Zach and Ryan before, and they're great to work with. But so I take the information from the clients and what you want and try to kind of meld that in with what the architect has specified for what the material is going to be. But I just pick which one. Like if they say the budget is $5,000 for the bathroom tile, then I say okay, and I look at what else is going on in the whole area, and I find the materials that fit the budget, that work with everything else. And I put together all the schedules. You were mentioning the schedules, so I do schedules for all the different materials. Yeah, all the finished schedules.
Why are we just now finding out that we need an interior designer? We're almost ready to start building.
Well, what she's saying.
Yeah.
What she's saying is true. The owner normally picks out the furniture. They pick out the different things, specialty items that are going to go into their building. In our case, it would just be primarily furniture. I'm not. Let me ask you: were you under contract to the architect, or did you act as an independent third party?
I was independent, but I worked with the architect. I would visit with them.
Somebody you had to answer to.
Yes, it was the owner. I answered to the owner.
So you were under contract to the owner?
Yes.
Okay. So, directly to the owner. What we need to find out is just what is it that we need to make decisions on.
Yes.
I've never done a project, worked on a project where we had to pick out the owner that I was working for had to pick out the tile. The architect knew what the space was used for, and they already had a tile picked out. They knew that it was, in this case, a restroom facility that needed to be non-slip tile, and in the shower, non-slip tile. Most of the projects that I worked on were large commercial industrial type projects where they had large engineering firms and that they worked with that did all that. Now, the owner did have to get an interior designer unless they were a hospital and pretty much everything was uniform, that they would have to contract with to do like I said, the types of furniture based on the use of the space and the color scheme of the space.
Yep.
But that was already done.
Yep.
I just don't,
Well,
So we have to decide today.
well, no, but what we.
No, we don't have to
No, we
decide
don't,
today.
but what we have to do is understand where we need to go. And
Right.
we've got a line item that's supposed to cover all of the interior furnishings.
Yeah.
And I assume that means wall paint, flooring, restaurant equipment that we're gonna put in there, tables and chairs. I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out, what has to come out of that budget line.
Well, 300,000 in that budget is basically for kitchen.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Whoa.
So they're furnishing the
What
kitchen.
we're talking about right now with your FF&E budget is not, we are not planning to use any of your FF&E budget to buy flooring, to buy paint, to buy tile, to buy doors, none of that. The only thing that potentially would come out of your FF&E budget would be what it costs to hire someone to make the decisions. We're not saying the finishes are not
Okay,
included by any
misunderstood.
means. That's not what we're saying
Okay,
at
I
all.
misunderstood that, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I see, right, yeah.
Brooke, do you have more to add? Go ahead.
Are there other questions?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any right now.
I brought a few other
Yeah,
examples,
I'd like to
just so
see
you.
those, yeah.
Let's see what you got.
Are these completed, Brooke, or are they still in the process?
A couple of them are completed. This one, the one I just showed you is in process right now.
Okay.
But like, for example, this, I don't know if you can hear me, this was also the same, this was a school, it's a private school that I did their aquatic center, and this was part of the locker room. This was the drawing.
We need to see it over here.
Yes,
Okay.
that was before, this was the rendering, and then this is, thank you, and then this is after, this is the completed project. And so I had the tile in the drawing going all the way up, and they chose to only go halfway up, which, I mean, that's fine, I was out of the picture at that point as far as the construction on this. But, that's just an example. Like, I picked out all the tile and the colors and the lighting and everything, and then, based on what the information architect said the requirements were for the function. This is, something that was just completed, actually, with Zach and Ryan, not long ago. And this is epic. So I selected, so there was an architect here that specified it needed to be a certain type of flooring, a certain type of door, lighting and everything. And I specified the flooring, the colors, the finish on the doors, the door handles, and I knew what was going on, and then the furniture, I specified all of that. The furnishings and things that can be moved around that's purchased through me.
Mm-hmm.
The walls, the doors, the flooring, anything that's permanent is part of the construction cost.
Okay.
But not the wall.
And Johnny, you said the only furniture and equipment we have is for the restaurant equipment. We don't have any furniture to,
I think that 300,000 is supposed to cover all of that.
and that's a lot. That
Yeah.
restaurant equipment's gonna be very expensive.
Yeah, the kitchen's probably that by itself.
This was just another part of that. This was part of the aquatic center, and there was a locker room and coaches' offices. And I didn't print the other bigger pictures.
Okay.
And so one more, is that it?
This was the one that's in
That was
progress
the
right
first
now.
one, that's the convent?
This was the
Yeah.
first one. So like I
Okay.
specified the tile pattern, how it was
Okay.
gonna go in and everything. So-
Well, I don't think we're gonna make any decisions tonight,
Okay.
but
No.
I think we got a good feel for what we have ahead of us. And I've gotta also then address the question Mike brought up, and that's what the responsibility was that the architect assumed he had, or we told him he had, and what he actually delivered. But that's a question that we gotta address first. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I have a question, again, for Ryan and Zach. It really has to do with the update people have been asking me about, and that is the asbestos abatement is gonna be, when do we anticipate that being finished?
Into this week, I think.
The abatement is supposed to be completed next week, and then We're giving the city a week to get anything they want out of the buildings, and then we'll start demolition.
Okay, that's, but people have been asking me of when we start tearing down, and we expect, or how will we start doing the tear down? Do we start with one building, or how?
We'll start with the existing clubhouse and then move over to the pro shop and pool.
Okay, that's what.
Because we're
okay.
trying to, we don't want to get any closer to that existing Live Oak as we can, so we want to take the clubhouse first, then go around.
Okay, so it'll probably be 2 weeks, in about 2 weeks is when the restaurant will come down.
That's when we'll start.
The reason I
tearing
asked that is several people have wanted to have kind of a going away party for it, you know, and a little toast to our dear old building that lasted us for 40-something years, and I told them I would give them warning, so.
I know Zach, before you get away, I know I mentioned it to you in one meeting we had here about your schedule.
Mhm.
And LCRA asked about schedule, when, at the meeting, the last meeting we were in.
Mhm.
And Ryan, I believe, committed to 2 weeks
Mhm.
for LCRA. Is that your schedule for the schedule? Is that your timeline for the schedule?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have
The
a full, complete schedule? within
next
2
week, we
weeks?
had told you we'd give it to you, yes, sir.
Oh, that one took a while. But I think it's worthwhile. Now, if, I know several, Brooke and Zach and Ryan appreciate the help you gave
Yes,
us today.
thank you.
I think it's very, very good input. I also say that I'd love you to stay here, but if you have other things to do, family commitments or something like that, I understand if you don't want to stay for the rest of this. So we're gonna move on to the next one, item B under old business, the codification.
Codification project,
I think we discussed
we
it.
touched it briefly. There's
Yeah,
3
we
days
touched
to
it
find
on
any
the
typos,
summary.
then it's gonna go ahead and go live.
Okay.
We'll be able to then update codes, and we'll send them to the company, and they'll put them online for us right
We
away.
also started, okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Also did the warning sirens. Was there anything else? I don't think there was anything else
Nope,
to add
just
to
an
that one.
update on that. I did have a quick update, I guess, an additional thing.
Okay.
Councilmember Wood did want to put something on the agenda for next time to have a motion on it to get moving. We'll have some information before our next city council meeting, and I'll plan on having an action item on there in case we do want to move ahead, but we'll play that by ear.
I think we need more clarification on what role the county is gonna play in it, and they talked to me about kind of a holistic county-wide plan with compatible equipment that one city and another city could communicate with, or through telemetry or whatever. Okay, go ahead on the next one. D,
Sure.
Will, you're in, on the tennis court
Yep,
lease?
tennis court lease, I provided some information earlier about that.
Can I go over that?
Absolutely.
You all have a copy of what he sent out? regarding the
Mhm,
info?
yes.
All right, the lease requires them to pay $100 a month plus 10% of their profit. According to the records that we have of the money that we have received, in the first time money, we got $900, which includes with a 9-month and no percent of profit. The next one, we got $793, that's percent of profit. No percent of profit the next time, no percent of profit the next time. This cannot, there's no way he could run a business and not have any profit. So I'm saying we need to audit.
Okay. What do you think, Will?
I can ask him, and if he won't provide, that could show a little bit of a lack of good faith on, our
So I don't want
relationship.
to sign the lease.
Okay.
When is the lease expire?
It expired in December.
Oh, it is expired.
Yeah, and they didn't even pay us for January or February, according to this documents you just gave us.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, it was October, November, December.
Well, he doesn't have a contract, I guess, theoretically, so. Okay.
Well, I think the
How are we
other
gonna resolve
issue is
this?
gonna be, there said there will be some disruption of their use of the tennis courts.
Yeah.
So we may have to take that into account. If they can't get to the tennis courts to play, then it's a little hard for us to ask for rent.
I'd like to first determine whether they have just cheated us out of money before we go any further. I'm
Right.
sorry, that's what I'm saying.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying, we also need to take in consideration
Right.
of once we understand the impact that our construction may have on there.
Right.
Yeah.
It will definitely have an impact.
Yes, and so
Definitely.
that may be a discussion that you need to have with Lance, you know, and, or, you know, y'all have with Lance, and if you can help them understand what kind of impact that may be,
Yeah.
or how long it may last.
Yeah, because they gotta move their portable building, all of that.
I can't hear you, Johnny.
Oh, excuse me. They've got a portable building and a bunch of stuff they've got to move that they own, because we're gonna be digging right under it.
Oh, yeah, that portable building out there, yeah,
So we're
okay.
gonna move that, so there'd have to be some coordination.
Do they know that?
They took our old one and brought a new one in.
Right, but I mean, do they know they're gonna have to move it, though?
No, not yet.
Okay, okay.
But, yeah, that's what I said, we're just trying to get the wheels rolling, and it's.
All right.
Yeah, they're
That's
probably
slow.
oblivious, they don't know we have plans for that.
Then, I move we table item 6D.
Okay,
And I guess they just continue to use the tennis courts, you know, because we can't stop them, right?
Yep, on a first come, first served basis.
yeah, there's city-owned tennis courts, so they've gotta be open to anybody that wants to play. Basically, all he really wanted to do was make profit by having tournaments. That's where his profit was gonna be. He's not charging anybody to play the tennis court. So, I don't know how much he makes on tournaments or when his last tournament was, but that's his only profit is that. And he's paying us, basically he's paying us that, and he's gonna agree to do certain maintenance that some of it we're doing, like screens, I guess. But, we haven't really been proactive in telling him and coaxing him to do what he said.
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want me to rescind the motion,
No, I'm not on it.
or you want?
Well, I don't care. You can make the motion either way, and we do have a quorum. We can vote on it, or we can,
Okay.
vote to,
All right, I'll
to-
rescind my motion to table.
okay. It wasn't-
All right, so I'll make a motion that we authorize the mayor to sign the renewal of the tennis court lease after a discussion with the leasee and an agreement on the item.
I think we gotta base, I think you could qualify that and
Okay,
say
how do
after
I
we've had
qualify?
discussions on things that Barbara brought up.
Yeah.
We need to resolve why we haven't been paid. Maybe there's a good reason.
Okay.
Maybe they haven't had
All
tournaments.
right, then I'll restate the motion.
Okay.
I move that we authorize the mayor to sign renewal of tennis court lease with the once once it's resolved, what was it, the profit?
Once the outstanding questions have been resolved,
Oh, the outstanding questions have been resolved.
yeah.
Which is what, audit? Or no audit?
Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be to audit. I think it's a very small thing. We just need to find out if there was profits made that we didn't get the 10% on. I think that's the biggest qualm that I have is are we getting the profits are we getting our share of the profits? Right?
That was agreed upon by,
I'm sorry?
that was agreed upon when the
In the contract.
Yeah, it's in the contract.
Yes,
It's in the original contract, yes. There's still it's starving for a second, though.
Not me.
Motion dies.
Motion dies due to lack of a second, okay. We'll postpone that until a later time after we've resolved these things.
I'll still communicate with him and
Okay.
get that audit.
Tell him what the,
I'll still go ahead and do what you're requesting, though, and we can talk about it next month.
next one is authorizing the mayor to sign the PFC lease with the city and the PFC.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to get this to you earlier. I just got it myself at about 4 o'clock today. There are 21 pages to review in total.
How can we sign a lease we haven't seen?
Well, did you even have time to see whether they incorporated our red lines?
They have, yep, and
They have incorporated them.
yep, I think just about all of them, yeah. They took the,
Well, yeah. I think we ought to go, I don't mind getting the authorization, but I think we ought to, between you and me, we ought to make sure that all of our changes were incorporated. And Barbara too. Barbara,
Yeah,
you're on the other side of
yeah.
it. You're the signatory for the PFC.
I will not authorize the signature until everybody has seen it, at least, and read it, and know that it's okay.
Well, you could do that for the PFC, because you have to sign it
Right.
for the PFC. Barbara, by the way, is the mayor,
Yeah,
president of the
president.
PFC, the mayor of the PFC.
Yeah, right.
So the question is, from the city's standpoint, if they incorporated all the changes that we had, I think it's ready, but I haven't verified that
We
yet.
verified that.
Well, what we
I think-
can, actually, we can make a motion and just put a qualifier on it once the PFC has approved it.
But what if the PFC doesn't approve it?
Well, then it
Then
doesn't
we don't
happen.
sign it.
Don't
Okay,
sign it.
that's okay.
Okay,
Okay.
but we do need to put a time frame on it, though.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, we just got it
Right.
today.
Yeah,
Right.
it's-
We just need to make, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I move that we authorize the mayor to sign the city PFC lease agreement once the PFC has reviewed it and approved it.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Aye.
All right, we got a unanimous vote
Now,
there.
I do want to ask, this is the agreement for the restaurant, really, in the building that we put next to the.
Temporary structure, yeah.
Just for the temporary
And when is that
structure.
going to be ready? I mean, we got to really have this done before that's ready.
The building, so if you go up there and look over to the side, the flooring and base are constructed. This Friday, the metal structure is coming in and will be put on site in one day. So that'll happen this Friday. Then we need to do minor framing inside for wooden joists, unfortunately. And that'll take hopefully not very long at all. And then Jasmina can get in there and she outfits
She has
it.
a bunch to do.
Yep, and letting her get in there is a little bit contingent upon having this lease signed.
Right, I just need to know how much time I have to look at the thing.
Yeah,
Not much.
not a whole lot, but,
3 weeks.
yeah, maybe 3 weeks.
Oh, that's a lot.
But yeah, that's at most,
Yeah.
till we get it all ready for her to get in there and put her
Yeah.
equipment in.
Okay.
It'll be longer than that before she gets her equipment in.
Right, but-
Before it's available for her to do her.
She won't
Portion
order
of it.
equipment to go in there until we get in the lease.
Yeah.
Right, and so we will have to, not miss any timings, I suppose.
Right.
We wanna get going on this because
Right.
we need this signed before she even gets in there.
And that structure has to be wired electrically, and the plumbing has to be put in, water and such, so insulated, I mean, it's quite a bit of work.
Yeah, we're gonna upgrade to like electrical and some of that because, for the new building, that building's moved to the sewer plant, but we'll upgrade and pay for that portion of it, but he's going to pay for the rest of it, so.
What I saw.
Yeah.
Looks good.
So there is some work that has to be done, just like you said and Will said, but the biggest part is just putting studs inside the building. It's coming, nothing.
Yeah. So, Will, I see one thing here. There's no Exhibit B, and as it's scanning through here, Article 2, subsection I refers to an Exhibit B, which is not part of the contract.
We do have to get that Exhibit B to
Yeah.
us. She did send me a note saying, we need to provide this
Yeah,
Exhibit B.
okay.
That's easy.
I think we've already discussed
I
it
think
with
we've done
the
it once
operator.
before, but it got lost in Word because
Yeah.
all the drawing was in a Word file and it moves the lines every which way, so.
Okay. Okay, we've already discussed the dog park. So the one item left, if we want to pursue it tonight, as
We will
we
do
probably
it.
should, is the July 4th celebrations. It's 250th anniversary of the nation.
That's a big one.
And I think it's important that all the nation get behind this and celebrate our heritage. There's a project I just found out today called 250 for 350. And it's 250 years for 350 citizens. So they want all 350 citizens to be involved in this thing, so that includes us. Carolyn, do you have anything
Yes,
on that one? I know you've been researching it. I heard offline that you've had it done.
Oh, yeah. We are, the POA which Dottie Stuckworth is is a POA member. And Kathy Nickel, who is just doing some projects for the POA, and which is the July 4th, I know definitely. Well, the three of us are gonna meet on Friday. And I know that Kathy has been researching how we can do it. She met with David, and, because we said that we wanted to do it probably on the driving range like we did the Eclipse. The problem is getting people in with the construction. So they came up with the idea of the lot that the city owns off of Firestone that goes into the driving range, is that if we could put a ramp over the curb and have people come in that way and keep them away from the golf course side, and then we could use all of that down in there on the driving range. And we're looking at doing things like an old-fashioned July 4th, you know, hot dogs, and she was saying, we do the Kona ice and get the bouncy thing, and have games like we did before, have parents be responsible for certain games, and they'll have a face painter, but that we will do she's looking at doing the parade to start, the golf cart and bicycle parade with the kids to start down at Lakeside Park, and that they would line them up on the golf carts on the street, and then the bicycles and stuff would be in the park area, the walkers, and then we'd do a different route to keep them away from the construction site, and then we're gonna look at working out the route of how to bring them in so that they end up on Firestone and come in through that lot on Firestone, and we'll have everything set up on the driving range. So that's kind of a general idea. And the reason is because July 4th's on a Saturday, and David said he expects a huge number of golfers.
Yeah.
Which means we won't have enough parking, and that's why we're trying to keep our community
Yeah.
away from the parking lot.
Good idea.
And away from First Tee
Construction.
Box and all, and come in the other way. And,
Will we have to shut down the driving range to do that?
yes, we will. I told
would
him,
assume we do.
we're thinking about doing it from like 10 to 2,
Yeah.
you know, start a little bit later. Normally they would start at 9, but start about 10 so that we can have a lunch kind of hour, and, you know, and do it there. And even though we'd shut down the driving range, we wouldn't affect the golf course, so
Yeah.
that people could be on the golf course. And at that time, we will have the putting green will also be shut down by that time, right?
Putting green will be shut a little later.
Yeah.
Putting green will be shut 2 weeks.
That's what I thought. It'll be shut down, and the chipping range will be shut down.
No, the chipping
No?
range, probably, it'll be shut down for a while.
Oh, just for a while. Okay,
It'll go back to
okay.
the start.
So anyway, those are the general parameters that we're looking at, but the three of us are gonna meet on Friday and start getting costs of everything. And one of the things what I was concerned about, because it's hot in July, was having tents. And they said, well, maybe we could get people that have, you know, their own tents or kind of thing, and just put a bunch of those out on the driving range, because it's flat out there.
Yeah.
And but that's what we're gonna look at. But when we come back with plans, because what I will do is I will ask the city to put money in to this celebration, you know, with helping with signs and stuff. POA has some, but since we're trying to expand the scope, that the city would be also a part of this and help share the cost
Okay.
of it.
I think it's worthwhile. I was wondering about, and this is just a wild idea, but if we could sponsor an essay contest for people that would write a report, or, you know, several pages on preserving the heritage that was established in 1776, and where it's about to go off the rails, or why it's important that we not go off the rails. Does that sound like a good endeavor? Because I think if we're celebrating the
Yeah.
4th of July,
Well,
the day
you know,
should.
'cause I think
Hang
we'll-
on, hang on.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good idea, 'cause we,
Okay.
I mean, because I think we could ask the children.
Right. I
And
think
it
you'd
would
ask,
be-
you could have a children's contest at a high school, and then, you know, if the residents want to do one too, I mean,
Yeah.
they can
Could
always
do
do
a
it.
what does the 4th of July mean to me or something?
I
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. We gotta figure out a theme to write
Right.
about.
Yeah, and
And
then
then we
I,
could read them there.
yeah,
What-
right, because we're
yeah.
gonna have
Read the
power. They
winners, at
said we
least.
have power down there, or we're able to,
I have to bring it in, I don't have it, but
but I don't know how far we could bring it in somewhere.
I can bring it with generator.
Generators. This is a one-time thing though, for the 250th.
Yes, right, this is
Yeah,
the one,
We're not gonna do this every year.
No, 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 no,
We
no.
do the parade every year.
We do,
and
yes,
The Kona Ice and
and
that stuff
that's
at
the
park.
reason we
But
wanted,
This is just,
this is meant to be a one-time thing, and I know Garrett had talked about, he was gonna look into having a big, you know, a big sign, you know, like Meadow Lakes is celebrating the 250th, you know, that we would have out front, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
keep in mind too, you know, every year we have the volunteer fire department participate, the area EMS and the
Right.
sheriff department.
And,
They're a big part of our parade,
right,
especially the fire engines.
Yeah.
And so if we start at the park, if we go backwards like we're doing, starting at the park and coming up to the golf course,
right.
with parking and how would they, what would we do with the fire truck? What would we do with the emergency area EMS vehicle? They have to have, you know, where would we put them?
Well, you know, that's what we're gonna
I'm
take.
just saying, just keep
Yeah,
in
that's what we're
mind
gonna take a
during the
look at, is all
discussion.
of those logistics, because we don't wanna get near the parking lot of the golf course, cause it's gonna be filled.
Yeah.
Because being that it's a holiday and it's a Saturday, they expect to have a lot of golfers there. And so we might have to do something, you know, because where that street is, even, you know, cause Firestone placed a dead end, so, or there may be something we could do with that, I don't know. We're gonna look at all of that.
Let's
So
keep
if
this
anybody
on the-
has any suggestions, just, you know, let us know.
I made one.
All right, I got your suggestion, we will put it down.
I will, I think we need to have this as an ongoing discussion, ongoing agenda item, because it's important to us that we don't get it, we don't lose sight of it.
Right,
Okay, that's most of the agenda. As far as the announcements are concerned, it was like last Friday was the deadline for filing for office, and Carolyn's position is opening up, and she filed. Mike's position is opening up, and he filed for reelection, and my position is open, and I didn't file. So we'll be seeing in May, we'll be seeing a different mayor.
so Garrett filed.
It's unopposed, so.
Yeah, I
Everybody-
think everyone's unopposed,
Opposed,
so.
so we won't have
I
to
mean,
have an
that tells you
election.
how eager people are to take on this responsibility. But at any rate, I thought I'd bring that up to let you be the first to know,
Yeah.
although some people already knew.
And the,
Okay, so a motion to
wait a
adjourn
minute,
is,
first of all, one other thing is, today was the first day of early voting. And
Oh, yeah.
it'll go to the 27th, I believe, and then the primary date is March the 3rd. And we're encouraging everybody to please vote in the primary, however you wish to
the
vote.
location is gonna be, for us, most convenient over at Texas Tech.
Yes,
Polls will be open from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m., except Thursdays. There's 2 Thursdays during the early voting, and there's 7 to 7.
Okay,
Okay,
all right. I move we adjourn.
I second it.
all in favor? Didn't take long, we're done.
I thought that was gonna be a quick
Are we getting more, our meetings? I don't know.